Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today and welcome to this educational presentation of Attention All Stock Traders. This is the strategy you've been searching for. Now the reason why we say this is because this is probably one of our most overlooked strategies and it's specifically designed for trading stocks only. Comes with a lot of great features, but let me just start off by sharing with you an example right here. This is an AKAM, and this happened just last month or two ago. As you can see, the stock looks as if it's going nowhere in a range, and some would even say there's some resistance there. That's why it can't get through that boundary to the upside. So things are quiet, but the beauty of this particular strategy that I'm going to be talking about today is that it will often identify setups when there's nothing there. In other words, there's no awareness. And at the same time, it will identify setups when the market is going very strongly in a direction. At the same time, it will identify setups when it's going in the opposite direction. So it's a really great strategy for stocks. For example, right here, when it looked as if the stock was going nowhere, a buy signal was generated. So someone looking at this will say, well, how is this possible? How can a buy signal be generated? It looks as if we're just basically in a range. But in as little as a week or two later, the stock not only traded to the upside, but gapped up strongly on some news event, most likely, over 12 points. So this is the beauty of this strategy. And once again, we're going to be talking about it today in today's educational presentation. So welcome everyone. And the beauty of this is that we're going to show you how simple it is to apply this strategy on our new PTS Primo charting platform. Literally teaches you how to trade. And that's what we've put together for you to make it simpler and easier to actually be a more consistent trader. So my name is Stephen Primo. I'm the president and founder of Specialist Trading. I've been trading for 41 years now. I started out trading on the floor of the Pacific Stock Exchange. I was on the floor for a total of 16 years. 9 of those years I was a specialist. That's where we get the name Specialist Trading. A specialist is someone who just simply made markets in stock. So if you wanted to buy or sell a particular equity at the time, usually what you do is at that time you would contact your broker, either online or most likely call. In those days you would call your broker. Your broker in turn would call the floor trader on the floor of the exchange who would represent your trade. And if you wanted to buy or sell, let's say Waste Management, which is one of the stocks I used to make a market in, he would come up to me and say he wants to either buy or sell so many shares, 100, 500, 10,000 shares of Waste Management. So I had to make a market and accommodate that order as best I could. I did that during the crash of 1987 and the bull market that followed. I left the floor in the mid-90s to manage money, to trade my own account, and about 8 or 9 years ago I teamed up with Pro Trader Strategies, whereas all we do is educate members around the world in over 110 countries and in virtually every state in the United States, all the things I've accumulated in my 41-year career, because we're just trying to educate you so that you can become a better trader. You know, we don't promise to have the best methods where they'll generate thousands and thousands of percent. All we do is furnish you with education that has stood the test of time so that you can ultimately make your own trading decisions. Now, today promises to be a great presentation. Once again, it's specifically designed for stock traders. So if you're a stock trader, you came to the right place. But before we begin, as always, we are first required to share you this disclaimer package. And once again, we're required by law. So please take a moment to view it. I'm going to show you a lot of performance results, a lot of charts in different directions and time frames. But please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And please remember that all the examples I'm about to share with you are for educational purposes only. So as you're taking a brief moment to view our disclaimer, I would once again like to invite each and every one of you, if you haven't done so already, to follow us on Twitter. Excuse me. Every day I post different information, anywhere from little bits of financial wisdom along the way to actual signals that some of our strategies have generated. In fact, I posted a really good one this morning in WTW, Weight Watchers, how I think the stock is up like over 10 points today, but how one of our strategies generated a buy signal a week ago. So there's lots of great information. Feel free to follow us on Twitter. Now remember, as I stated, our only goal at Specialist Trading and Pro Trader Strategies is to provide our members around the world with sound fundamental education. And someone would say, well, why are you doing that? I mean, I thought you teach strategies or methods. We do. But the point is that we're not a signal service. We're not simply trying to tell you, well, just whenever you see a red or a green button on the platform, just sell without any knowledge at all and without any part of being a part of the process. Just blindly take the signals. That's the way most traders trade, and that's why, in our opinion, why most traders fail. It's been estimated that 80% of all traders fail. And when we say fail, it doesn't mean you're going to go into a little slump. It means that you basically give back all of your money that you set aside for trading. Think of it, 80%. That's a terrible statistic. And so what most traders rely on is listening to someone or something else tell them how to trade. And in our opinion, this is why most traders fail, because you've basically taken yourself out of the game. It would be similar to someone flying an airline and the captain saying, okay, well, now that we're up in the air, how do we land this thing? What do you think I should do? Or how do you think I should fly this? Or a brain surgeon saying, okay, how do you think I should operate? What do you think I should do? You think that's silly, right? But this is the way most traders trade. You go to a website or you spend your money on some $10,000 system or listen to some trading guru in a chat room or on TV and go there to find out what you're supposed to be doing on a daily basis. This is silly. This is a recipe for a disaster. Once again, in our opinion, why most traders fail. So what traders need is education so that they can make the decisions for themselves. This is something that most people don't provide. They provide you with perfect setups. They provide you with a perfect market, the perfect time frame. But as you see here, our goal is not to provide you with the market. It's not to force feed you signals. It's not to provide you with a time frame. Our goal is simply to teach you how to trade with the specialist edge. When I was struggling 41 years ago on the floor, my mentors taught me the same things that I teach my students. So hopefully with this education, it will be able to turn your trading around. Okay, so that's a little bit of the philosophy behind specialist trading. Now, since this is an educational presentation, we want to take all your questions, but I don't want you to be here for the next 3 or 4 hours if we stop every 5 minutes to answer a question. So kindly just wait till the end of today's class. I promise I'll get to each and every one of them. If you have to leave early or if you have technical difficulties, don't worry, we will provide you with a link to this recording, okay? So I'll just answer that question right off the bat. But if you joined us late, we have a really good crowd here today. Please wait till the end of class to ask any question. Okay, this shouldn't last that long, so let me begin. Now, the strategy we're going to be talking about today is strategy number 8. I don't give a lot of presentations on this strategy, and I'll go into reason why. Because firstly, it's just for stocks. Most of our strategies are able to transfer and move on to any market, any time frame. But this has some restrictions to it and some requirements. It's a really good strategy, very consistent, but for stock traders only. So let's talk about some of the highlights. As we just said, it's strategy number 8. And as we just said, the most important requirement is that it's for stock traders only. Now, one of the reasons why we don't talk about it that much is because it only uses 2 indicators, and these are very common tools, very common indicators that you'll see just about in every charting software package on every platform. But the difference is that we have proprietary settings for each one. There are our own proprietary settings, and then the way a setup is generated, excuse me, is based off of the relationship between these 2 proprietary settings and these 2 proprietary indicators. That's why we really can't give a lot of information. If you've come to my presentations in the past, you'll notice that I like to give a few rules here and there. I like to tell you what it's based off. It's very difficult to do that with strategy 8 without giving the entire thing away. And plus, you know, we want to share with you how good this method can work without, you know, really insulting the people that have already purchased the course and that are doing very nicely and say, wait a minute, you're giving this thing away for free? I just paid good money for it. Now people are trading for free, so we don't want to insult them. But at the same time, we want to just share with you how well this method works. Now, it often shows the capability to catch these big moves. Now, this is not guaranteed. This is not something that's written in stone. But oftentimes, we've seen that in advance of a large move that's based off something that no one would know about, like, say, some tremendous earnings report, or based off some announcement that no one would ever think of, or based off just some worldly event. Strategy number 8 we've seen many times, not guaranteed once, remember, but once in a while, you'll see these setups days, oftentimes maybe a week in advance of these tremendous moves. I'll show you some examples of these as well. Now, Here's another one of the requirements. This works best in daily bars and higher time frames. So one of the things we've noticed as well is that, a lot of traders like to trade intraday. We have not seen that, best performance in intraday bars. Either it's a 10-minute time frame or hourly. Now we have some other strategies that work great in all time frames, all markets. Strategy number 8 is really well fitted for those traders who like to look at daily bars, who like maybe swing trade or even higher time frames for investing. And I'll show you a lot of examples. Now, not to worry, because you can apply this to any direction. So if you like to go long and short, you're going to get signals in both directions. Now we realize that a lot of traders don't like to actually short a stock. That's okay. You can still buy puts on it. You can use one of our sell opportunities that can go with maybe a spread on an options type of hedge. It doesn't matter. Just as long as it's generating a signal, how you decide to get into the market is entirely up to you. Remember, we're trying to put the favor back in your hands. We're trying to put the decision process back in your hands. So we're just providing you with high probability setups. How you decide to trade it is entirely up to you. As with all of our strategies, once you become a member of the course, we always ask our members to paper trade first, because there's so much more you can learn by paper trade. So this is one of the requirements of a course member. You must paper trade first. And you'll see that this strategy has a high level of consistency. But consistency does not mean that every trade is going to be a winner. Every once in a while, you will have a small loss. That's perfectly admissible. That's okay. Once again, as I stated earlier, we're not like most websites where we say, oh, this goes back 20 years, we back tested it, you had thousands and thousands of percentage points that you would have made. We don't believe in that, because trust me, from someone who's been trading for 41 years, I used to trade and I used to even teach systematic trading, where methods would go back 20 years of back testing and they never failed, had a very small loss percentage rate. And then you trade them for maybe a couple of weeks, even a couple of months, and then they'd blow up. Everything would go out the window. So that's why we are required, every educator, every webinar is required by law to show you and issue a disclaimer, because nothing works 100% of the time. So you should not worry about win-loss ratios. You should not worry about statistics, because I've traded just about everything. I've traded methods that had win-loss ratios and percentage winners up to 80–90%. And then when I started trading them, they all blew up. So there's really, no guarantee that any statistic is going to work at all, because the minute the market changes its environment, everything goes out the window. Trust me, everything goes out the window. So what you need is something that's consistent, something that will have some small losses every once in a while, but has the ability to recoup it and make it back. Not where it's just going to throw everything out the window and lose everything you made over the last 10, 20 years in maybe a single month. You want something that has the availability to be consistent, a 2-step forward, 1-step back approach, and strategy number 8 has that as well. Okay, so those are the highlights of this particular method. Let's show you some examples, okay? All right, let's start out with some buy examples for stocks. Once again, a stock-only strategy. As we see here in FCAU, it looks as if the market is actually rolling over, but all of a sudden we get a nice upward move. Now someone would say, well, yeah, but how do you know? I mean, we kind of moved up here and then we rolled back over again. Well, had you taken this buy signal, that was a quick 4 points. I know 4 points is not a lot, but this is a very inexpensive stock. That's about a 25% gain in the price of the stock in just about 3 days. How about Urban? URBN, a little bit more expensive of a stock. Once again, it looks as if it's basically going nowhere in a range, but strategy number 8 generated a buy signal. 10 points generated within the next month. This was coming into this year, okay? Letter X. Now this is an interesting setup, because actually it looks like we've hit a top. A lot of traders would say, well, we went up a little bit too quickly. The trading room I like to go to says that we hit some major resistance here. This is where all the institutions are selling, and it looks like we're going to come all the way back down. So I would get out of this stock while you can, okay? That's the way most traders trade. They'll listen to someone in a chat room or some guy on TV, or look at the indicators or what the institutions are doing, and that's going to tell them how to trade. Well, to us at Special Trading, that's a recipe for a disaster, because you're not listening to the most important thing, which is the market in front of you. Now, strategy number 8 listens specifically to the market by the use of these two indicators and their relationship to one another. Now, what they did at this point was, unlike all the other analysis, a buy signal was actually generated. This was just basically saying that this is a pullback, and as you can see, a quick 8 points was generated, roughly about 20% in the next couple of weeks coming into January last month. Now, there was a 20-point gain in LB. As you can see here, we had a nice move to the upside. This was coming into October last fall. We kind of went sideways. And then in mid to end of October, a buy signal was generated right at the bottom of this 20-point move. The beauty of strategy number 8 is that oftentimes if there's enough momentum, if the relationship still exists with these two proprietary settings of the indicators, more buy signals will be generated so that you don't feel as if you missed it. You can still get in even after the move has been generated, okay? Now let's look at VLO. We had 2 buy signals generated here. Not much happened. It went up a little bit higher. This was at the end of last year, but not much happened. A lot of people were thinking we're going to have a sell-off coming into the new year, but 13 points coming into January, this past month. Now in the course, we teach you multiple ways in which to exit. We teach you multiple ways in which to enter or place your stop. So I know a lot of you are going to be asking, well, where would you get out? Where would you place your stop? Remember, this is all taught in the course. How about letter F? Here's another example where it looks like we're going down. This is another inexpensive $12 stock. All of a sudden, it looks as if we may bounce, but someone will say, well, you know, the earnings are coming out or the company's not doing that well. Why would I want to buy this? Well, because the price of letter F or Ford just rose 6% in just 3 days. Think of that. The stock rose 6%. Now, you know, it's an inexpensive stock, but with that comes the ability to purchase more shares if you'd like to. We don't see these kind of percentage gains in a lot of other of our methods we have. About OSTK, another buy signal generator where the stock looks as if it's going nowhere. This was just about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and then the stock went up 18 points in less than a week. Okay, this would have been a great opportunity to purchase calls or some type of long strategy to the upside with options. Now let's look at sells. Now we haven't had a lot of these, even though the market really fell out of bed the other day. These indicators need to have a relationship where it's set up to determine where the trend is going. So it's not going to catch tops, it's not going to catch bottoms, it's not designed to do that. It's designed to work off of these 2 proprietary settings so that you have a full understanding as to maybe a big move may be coming once we've already established that. But it's not going to try and pick a top and say, well, it would have got you short the day before the big downward move where we fell out of bed, 1,100 points. It's not going to do that. But let me share with you some previous sell signals. And remember, once again, even if these are inexpensive stocks, think about the percentage you could have had. Now, as well, we realize that not everyone likes to short in actual stocks. You could have at least purchased puts or some type of hedge or option strategy, a spread strategy to the downside. This was at the end of last year in UNG. A sell signal was generated, and it was a quick 4 points to the downside. Once again, a very inexpensive stock, about I believe about 10 or 15% move to the downside in a couple of weeks. Now here was a 40% loss in another inexpensive stock, letter S. As you can see, sell signals were generated all along the way, but the stock lost 40% once that first sell signal was generated. Here's letter P, okay? I believe that's Pandora. This is a little bit a different type of move because as we see here, 2 sell signals were generated and not much happened to the stock. Sure, it went down, but it really didn't move down that much. Sometimes it takes a little while for something to kick in. And as you see here, if you'd waited, well, it lost 45% of its value in 1 month. See how the stock in mid-November just gapped down tremendously? We had no idea it was going to be this strong of a sell-off. But this is the beauty of this particular method, in that oftentimes it knows in advance what the market wants to do. Now here's a small gain in OI, but once again we're looking at a very inexpensive $20 stock, 3 quick points to the downside. And we can look at CTL. There was 5 points to the downside at the end of last year. We don't have a lot of sell examples to share with you that are recent because once again, we've only just started to have some downward market movement, but many are going to be generated, trust me, in the next couple of days. Now let's look at PEN, P-E-N. Here's an example of the stock moving higher and then going sideways, where most traders would say, well, Steve, this is the chat room I go to says this is a high-level consolidation. We're making some type of a pennant, some type of a flag, and I actually want to buy this because the institutions are buying this. All of the up volume is increasing, and this is major consolidation before an upside move, before we resume the uptrend, okay? Once again, all of the decisions are based off of what someone or something is telling you. How about what the market's telling you? Well, the beauty of this is that the market is being diagnosed, is being analyzed by these indicators. We're not thinking of anything in terms of what the institutions are doing. We're not looking at volume. We're not looking at what someone's saying in a chat room. It's simply telling you, translating what the market wants to do. So in late to end of December last year, a sell signal was generated where everyone else wanted to buy. There was a quick downward move of 12 points in the next week. Now, as we said earlier, this is a daily to higher time frame type of method. So we wouldn't recommend it using it for intraday. You just don't get the same consistency, and I wouldn't want you to, to really be spinning your wheels trying to figure out how it can work for you if you're trading 5-minute bars or even hourly bars. You're not going to get the same type of, consistency in the signals. But if you start off with day trading or day time frames, in other words, a daily bar and higher, you will get the same consistency and some very nice setups and some larger gains either to the upside or to the downside, depending if you're buying or selling on a signal that's been generated. Let's look here at a weekly chart of Netflix. This was at the end of last year. Once again, the stock is going lower, where people are thinking we're going to have a sell-off. Here's where a buy signal was generated, and in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, Netflix generated a 21-point gain. Think you could have done well purchasing some calls on that. Now that was in Netflix. Let's look at Apple, okay? Now this was in last summer and then coming into the end of last year. 2 buy signals were generated. Had you taken the very first one, that would have been giving you 27 points to the upside coming into January. All right. Once again, I know you're saying, well, where would I exit? Do I make 27 points? It's up to you. Remember, you're in charge of your trading. We simply give you the different options for exiting. If you'd like to grab as much bang for your buck, well, sure, you would have captured 27 points. We'll show you ways how to do that. If you wanted to get out with a point, we'll show you how to do that too, okay? It's entirely up to you. We're not going to guarantee you're going to make 27 points. We're just trying to share with you high probability ways to enter, and we're sharing with you, education that has stood the test of time. Now here's a weekly a downside move in GE. As you can see, a sell signal was generated well in advance of this downward move of 10 points. So the market was telling you, as diagnosed by a strategy 8, that it was going much lower. Now we can even go out to a different time frame. Let's go out to a monthly time frame. If you're an investor, well, let's look at Costco. As we can see here, COST, the stock is going much lower. We've had a real strong downward month here, and then followed by some more lower closing months. But here's our first up move. Now someone would say, well, boy, you got to sell this. This has given me a chance to get out. I've been an investor in Costco, so now it's time for me to get out, right? So this is where you want to exit on the first month that closed higher. Well, not really, because what is strategy 8 doing? Strategy 8 is listening to the market, and it's saying that it's going higher. So this is where you want to buy it on a monthly time frame if you're an investor, because the stock went up 32 points in the next 3 months. So had you held your position and looked to get out, you would have lost, missed out on this 32-point gain to the upside coming into the year. Okay, so before we go into question and answers, let's recap what we shared with you today. Remember, this is a stock-only strategy. I'm sorry to say, I know we have a lot of other methods I've spoken about in our webinars where we talk about, how it can easily be transferred onto futures, Bitcoin if you like, or it can be transferred onto the E-mini or currency pairs. Sure, you can experiment with strategy 8. You can use it if you like, but it's been my experience after trading this for so many years that it works the best in stock market only, okay? It uses only 2 indicators. They're very common indicators. You have them all over any platform, but you have to have proprietary settings because the method works off of the relationship between these 2 indicators. So that's why we can't really go into detail because we'd give it all away. So we don't want to share with you what they are, but you learn all of this and how to adjust this and how to edit these settings in the actual class, okay? Now, as you saw, it often shows the capability to catch these big moves. Even if you're trading and you get a signal on a $5 stock, many times you'll see these big, large percentage moves, 20, 30, 40% percentage moves. All right, it works best in daily bars and higher time frames. So if you become a student of mine with this strategy, I would really recommend only using it on daily bars and higher. The beauty is you can apply it to any direction. So if you feel we're going into a bear market, this is going to generate some great signals to the downside once we establish that we are in a bear market. If we turn around and things look rosy again and we're making higher highs, you're going to get some great signals to the upside as well. All right. With all our methods, we always recommend strongly that our students paper trade first because you'll really fully understand the process. And remember, there will be small losses from time to time. That's okay. We're not trying to preach and tell you that this method works 100% of the time and you'll generate 2,000% in the first year, 10,000% in the next 3 years. That's silly. We're just trying to give you the information and hold your hand so that you can use this and have that 2 steps forward, 1 step back consistency that you've been searching for. Now, as we go into question and answers, I want to ask you something and ask yourself honestly, do you think this strategy could have helped your trading this past year? Go back and look the last month that you're trading. How has your stock trading done? Okay, most of you, even if we hadn't had that large drop, most of you, I'm sorry to say, have probably not done as well as you wanted to, as well as you thought you'd start off just a month ago at the beginning of the year. This is a strategy that's been generated really some nice signals for this past month, and hopefully we'll be able to do the same going on for the end of the year. So here's the special discount we're going to offer all the people for attending today and for coming to this presentation. We're obviously going to offer you a great discount in our strategy number 8 course. You're going to get instant course access, you're going to get detailed video instruction, and you'll learn exactly what the method is based on. You're going to learn all the entries, all the exits, and all the stop variables that you can decide on what to take. We're going to provide you with educational signal alerts. Excuse me, and the reason why we say educational is because it goes against our philosophy to just give you up and down signal arrows and say, just take this buy signal or just take this sell signal. Once again, that's a recipe for disaster when students do that. You have to know why you're buying, and then you have to have the decision to be able to say, well, you know what, I'm not going to take this trade. A little bit too much risk for me in my account. I'll wait till another one is set up, or I'll go look for some other setups, okay? You have to be a part of the decision-making process. So we provide you with these alerts so that you can check your work. While you're learning what a setup is based off of, you'll come to the chart, you'll see if it's actually a setup or not, and then you'll click on to see if an alert was generated. That way you can see if you're in sync with the signal alerts, okay? But you're going to get complete strategy rules, and you'll get mentoring from yours truly as well. You'll get my private email address. You can contact me anytime you like with questions on how to trade strategy number 8. We really strongly believe that strategy 8 is the one you've been searching for if you're a stock trader, okay? But guess what? We are not going to stop there. We're also going to throw in another feature. This is something you've heard me speak about a lot. This is the PET-D. Now, the PET-D is a tool I have been using on a daily basis going on 4 decades now. We call it our roadmap for any market because it's a proprietary tool that simply tells you what the short-term direction it is. But there's so many ways to use it. There's just dozens of ways to apply it, okay? Let me share with you exactly what we mean here. Let's look at this chart, Ned. Now, you've seen me talk about this before. This is the way most traders usually find out the trend. They'll say, well, we're not in an uptrend yet. We're not one yet. Okay, I'm convinced we're in an uptrend. And that just about that time where you get into the stock, then all of a sudden the uptrend changes. Wouldn't you have liked to know that maybe down here you're going to be in an uptrend and maybe right around here you're going to be in the beginning of a downtrend? Well, this is the beauty of the PET-D because it colors the bars. Green for a short-term uptrend, red for a short-term downtrend. So we would have known by these consecutive green bars that we were in an uptrend here, and well before the bottom fell out, we would have known by these consecutive red bars that the trend was over. And as you can see, the beauty of the PET-D is that it tells you which direction you should be trading. And once you know that, well, then you can apply any strategy to that direction. So it not only will help you increase your odds for consistency with strategy 8, but any other method you're trading. So if you get a buy signal, you want to make sure that that bar is colored green. Obviously, you don't want to be buying in a downtrend. That would be similar to buying somewhere up here. Even if your strategy says, well, buy right here, why would you want to do that? The bar is red and the market's trying to tell you that it's going lower. So the PET D is also a translator of the market. It's not a predictive tool. It doesn't tell you how high or how low the market will go. It simply translates on a tick-by-tick basis what the market wants to do. Does it want to go higher on that tick? Does it want to go lower? And using the proprietary calculation, we have it made it really simple for you by simply coloring the bar. It's either going to be colored green or red. Now let's look at an example here. This is the first chart I shared with you today in AKAM. Remember we said that, well, there's no trend here, but a buy signal was generated. How can we go long? Well, if you had applied the PET D, even when we were going sideways in a range, what is the PET D translating? It's translating that you're in an uptrend. And some would say, how can we be in an uptrend? We're going sideways for the past week or two. Well, that's the beauty of the PET D, where all other indicators will be telling you, well, you're in a choppy mode, there's nothing happening here. The PET D is so finely tuned on a tick-by-tick basis to what the market wants to do, it's actually translating that the market is in an uptrend. So you have full, confidence to take this buy signal, and that's where the market jumped up 12 points. This is the beauty of combining strategy number 8 with the PET D tool. Now here's some other signals. Here's one in SCG. As you can see, there were much more than 3. There were roughly about 8 to 10 signals generated to the downside. How could we have had the confidence to take these strategy number 8 signals? After all, looking back in hindsight, had we taken this very first one before this large down move, we would have had 22 points potentially to work with. But how would we have known? Well, you don't know how low something's going. Remember, it's not a predictive tool, but we know what the market wants to do at that particular moment. Had we added the PET D tool, we would have seen that each one of those sell bars was colored red. So it would have given you the confidence to take the signal. So this is the beauty of the PET D. Even though we're in a downtrend, every once in a while you'll see some green bars appear. As long as your sell signal is colored red, that's your confirmation that it's okay to take that trade, that you have a high level of consistency. Not guaranteeing you that it's going to work out and you're going to make tens of thousands of dollars, but just telling you that this is a high probability setup. So we're going to offer you strategy number 8 along with the PET D course. Now usually when we offer these together, we've done this in the past, this is close to a $5,000 special deal, okay? And then we will oftentimes reduce it down to $44.90. Well, we're going to reduce it even more. We're not going to, offer it at $44.90 at all. We're actually going to offer you 2 of our best techniques for trading stocks down another $1,000 down to $34.95. And we're going to have payment plans available. So if you can't come up with that one lump sum, you can come up with a small deposit and still be up and running as soon as possible. But we're going to even add something else to this deal. We're not going to just stop here. We're also going to throw in 6 months use of our new PTS Primo charting platform for free, okay? This is thousands and thousands of more dollars expense if you're using this. We're going to throw this in free. So you're going to be able to apply strategy number 8 along with the PET D tool on our platform where everything is just one click away. We specifically designed this to make it as simple as possible. So all you have to do is click on either the PET D or strategy number 8 and everything is right there for you. Let me give you an example here. Let's share with you something that happened just a couple of weeks ago in GPT. All right, someone looking at this, let's say you're following this stock and you think, well, I'm kind of interested in this, but I'm not really sure what to do. Okay, if you had our platform and you were taking the course, all you'd have to do is click on strategy number 8 in the upper green strategy tab here. All right, automatically a buy signal would have been generated on the 9th of January. But you're still not convinced. You say, well, the stock kind of went up a little bit. Well, how can I buy here? How do I know, if it's really in an uptrend or not? Well, the second thing you do is simply click on PET D, okay? And in less than 10 seconds, you would see that you have a strategy 8 signal and that bar is colored green. So this would have given you the confidence to take the trade, to buy this. And in one day, the stock jumped 6 points. Now, I believe it's even higher than that right now. If you look up GBT, you'll see that it's higher than that, what it was on the 10th of January, okay? But this is the beauty of this. You're going to have all this at your fingertip access just one click away. Click on Strategy 8. It will verify if you saw Strategy 8 set up, because remember, you're going to learn the rules anyway. And you click on Pet D and it will automatically color the bars either green or red. This is all yours, 6 months free, because we want you to become acquainted with us and we want to make trading easy for you. Trading should be simple. It shouldn't be complicated. And I can't think of anything simpler than this. So we're discounting the price dramatically down to $34.95. We're offering you payment plans so that you don't have to come up with that one lump sum. You can still come up with a small deposit and still be trading and up and running with the Strategy 8 course, as well as the Pet D course, and 6 months of the platform for free. This is a great, great offer. I can't think of a better way to start off the new year. If you've been struggling in January, trust me, it's probably not going to get any better. So it'd be better just to cut your losses right now and get in with something that has shown high levels of consistency in the past. So here's how to take advantage of this. Contact my sister site, which is Pro Trader Strategies. I would recommend calling them, okay? Because if you call them, you can set up a payment plan with them. They have representatives right now, trading consultants, manning the phones. They'd be able and more than happy to establish a payment plan, so you don't have to come up with that one lump sum of $34.95. You can easily just have a very small deposit and most likely be set up by the end of today. And you'll be looking at all the signals and learning the strategies and learning how to use the Pet D, okay? Now, if you're excited about this and ready to go, that's the link at the very bottom, but it's not a live link. The live link has been posted on the chat box on the far right. So all you have to do is simply click that on, and that will take you to the sign-up page, okay? So I'm going to leave all this information up here. Once again, I would recommend personally contacting Pro Trader Strategies by calling 310-598-6677. Talk to one of their trading consultants. There's absolutely no obligation to ask any questions about prices and discounts, and they'd be more than happy to set you up with a payment plan, okay? Now I'm going to leave all this information up here for you to copy. Remember, the live link is posted on the chat box, and I'm going to open up the question and answer box. A couple of people are asking about the indicators. All I can tell you at this point in time is that there are two very basic, very common indicators that you have on just about every platform, but the proprietary settings are what is important. That's why I really just can't give them out, and it's their relationship to each other. And you're going to learn this little formula about determining their relationship to one another in the course. It may seem a little cumbersome, but it's very simple. And you'll learn that, and you'll know when a Strategy 8 buy or sell setup is generated. Then all you have to do is click on the tab, the strategy tab on the platform, and a signal will automatically generate. So you can check your work to see if it's there or not, okay? And then all you do, once you've found that out, is to simply click on the Pet D. It's that simple. Remember, we want to make it simple for you. I wish I had had this 40 years ago, because I had to do all this by hand, the Pet D as well, in order to see this. And the whole process for one stock usually took me about a half an hour every night. Well, with this, it'll probably take you less than 30 seconds every night. And you can look through a list. That's one thing I didn't also say. You can look through a list of stocks at night, and you'll be able to find that. Another question, is the scanner included in the platform? Yes, it is. We have a scanner. I'm sorry I don't have any slides of it. We have one of the best scanners, in my opinion, around, because, once again, it makes everything so simple. All you have to do is click on the stock scan, and it will automatically furnish you with a list of either the top ETFs, S&P 100, NASDAQ 100, currency pairs, whatever you're interested in looking at, and then click on scan, and it will generate all the buy and sell signals in strategy number 8. And this, once again, this process will probably take you less than 30 seconds. So you'll know what the buy setups are for strategy 8 for tomorrow, or what the sell setups are for tomorrow. And you'll have this for 6 months. So it's a great, great scanner. This is all included, okay? Lastly, once again, I would strongly recommend, we have a lot of interest in this right now, I would recommend contacting Pro Trader Strategies. There's absolutely no obligation. All you have to do is ask them questions, and they'll give you more information, but they will be happy to give you more information about setting up a payment plan. Remember, a payment plan simply requires you to put down a small deposit, and then you'll have a monthly payment plan, and you'll be able to still be up and running as soon as possible. Most people that establish a payment plan are up and running with the course that same day. So there's a lot of great advantages to doing that. I would once again recommend that, so you don't have to come up with that one lump sum. Okay, as we conclude here, I just want to say thanks so much for attending. I hope you got something out of this. This is one of our best strategies for trading stocks only. We strongly believe this is the strategy that as a stock trader you've been waiting for. Okay, from time to time on Twitter I'll post some great strategy 8 setups, but remember, take advantage of this great deal. Don't wait to see the setups posted on Twitter, because if you say, okay, well, I'm convinced, I think I'll take a part in this offer they had, it may be gone, and it may be back to the $5,000 price without use of the platform. So I would jump on this as soon as possible if you're really interested. Okay, thank you so much for attending today. I hope you got something out of this. I really wanted to educate you and show you the value of strategy number 8. So I look forward to all of you becoming members of the class, but most importantly, I look forward to you all becoming students of mine in the strategy number 8 and PET D courses. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.